Okay, good morning everyone. Assalamualaikum.
Morning,
My voice
Miss.
is clear.
Good morning, Miss.
Good morning, Miss.
Okay, so today we are going to proceed to the last two subtopic for chapter 5. Yang kita tinggal dua subtopik lagi, 5.4 dan 5.5. So, misalkan habiskan hari inilah. Since the last two subtopic ni dia tidak panjang. Okay, before we proceed to 5.4, let's recap a little bit of what we learned yesterday. Okay, so yesterday we learned on how to determine the direction of induced current. So we have two ways for state conductor. First, we can use right hand palm rule. So this one I think tiada dalam nota kamu. So kamu boleh salinlah this one. So this is applicable to straight conductor only. And then for right hand grip rule, so this one we learned in chapter 4 as well. And this one is applicable to find the direction of current for coil and straight conductor. So untuk straight conductor kita ada dua cara lah untuk cari the direction of the current. Okay, so for conductor, if we want to use right hand palm rule, kita boleh terus gunakan di mana your thumb will be the direction of the current, your finger will be the direction of the velocity, and your palm will be the direction of magnetic field. So this one untuk right hand palm rule. Okay, but for right hand grip rule, okay, we need to consider the change in flux here. So if the change in flux increase, okay, kalau flux increase, we need to decrease that flux. So in order to decrease that flux, we need to induce magnetic field in the opposite direction. So kalau flux increase, magnetic field must be in the opposite direction. So this one dekat sini kita adalah into the patch, right? So we want it to be opposite direction. Maksudnya sekarang ni kita mau dia jadi out of the patch. So bila dia jadi out of the patch, your direction of thumb must follow that direction of the opposite direction. So your thumb induced current is out of the patch, and then kamu boleh nampak your direction of finger is anti-clockwise. That's why kita akan dapat macam ni, dia anti-clockwise. But for straight conductor, kita tidak akan letak anti-clockwise. So instead, kita akan letak the direction of current is from point Q to point P. Dia mesti direction of current dekat conductor tu, bukan dekat loop. Dia mesti dekat conductor. So this one in case when we have an increase in flux. Okay, when we have decrease in flux, okay, flux kita decrease, so apa yang kita mau adalah kita mau increasekan flux tu. So macam mana kita mau increasekan flux? We need to induce magnetic field in the same direction. So kalau same direction, initially dia adalah out of the patch, right? This one. So same direction maksudnya kita mau tambah lagi. Because we want to increase that magnetic field kan? In order to increase the flux. So kita tambah direction yang sama. That's why your induced magnetic field is out of the patch, and then you can see that the direction of the current is anti-clockwise. So sama juga from Q to P. This one anti-clockwise macam ni. So we state the direction of current in terms of point lah, from Q to P. Okay, so this one applicable untuk right hand grip rule ni applicable untuk conductor dan juga coil. Okay, this one is for coil. So sama juga. So dalam nota kamu, I think ada satu, let me see which page. Page mana ya? Page 6. 6 kan ni? Yes. Dalam nota kamu dalam page 6 tu di bawah nota Lenz law. Okay, dia ada bagi tahu dalam bentuk chart dekat situ. If there's an increase of magnetic flux, B induced will be in opposite direction. Kalau decrease, it must be in the same direction. So this one applicable untuk kedua-duanya state conductor dan juga coil. Dalam nota kamu ada sudah benda ni. And then this one only for right hand grip rule sahaja. Kalau kita gunakan palm, for this one, kita terus ambil, okay, velocity ke sini. Kita punya magnetic field is into the page, that's why kita punya palm is facing down. So kita terus dapat current tu naik ke atas. We don't need to consider the change in the flux if we are using this one. Okay, so this one I already explained in detail yesterday. And then we also learn about self-inductance. Okay, di mana we can produce induced EMF. Okay, we produce induced EMF by changing the current. Kita hanya ada satu circuit saja. This time we don't have magnet. We just change the current in the circuit and then we can induce that EMF. So ada dua kemungkinan juga apabila current increase. So when current increase, maksudnya magnetic field kita akan increase, magnetic flux kita pun akan increase. So sama konsep macam yang tadi, in order to oppose that, because Lenz kata we need to oppose the change. So when we have an increase in flux, we need to decrease that flux. So tunjuk tadi bila decrease, bila flux increase, the direction of induced EMF must be in the opposite direction. So when current decrease, our magnetic field pun akan decrease, flux pun akan decrease, and then the direction of induced EMF is in the same direction. So this is just the process to induce EMF di dalam coil yang connected dengan battery ataupun solenoid yang connected dengan battery. And then we have a few formula that we can use. So this is the general formula to find the self-inductance. Di mana dekat sini adalah EMF, this is inductance, and this is the change in current. And then we have another formula for solenoid, this one, for coil, this one. And then we can also use this formula. So kita dekat sini actually ada 3 formula lah. 1, 2, 3. So this one depends kepada soalan. If it's using solenoid, kita gunakan this one. Coil, kita akan gunakan this one. And I also mentioned that this inductor, okay, is used to store energy in the form of magnetic field. So dia berbeza dengan capacitor. Capacitor is used to store energy in form of electric field. Kalau inductor, because inductor ni is just a bunch of wire, macam ni, dia macam ada banyak wire yang kita lilit. That's why bila ada banyak wire, current pun akan will be greater. That's why kita akan ada magnetic field. So it will store energy in terms of magnetic field. So this time we want to calculate that energy stored in the inductor. Okay, this is the next subtopic. We want to learn about how to calculate the energy stored in the conductor. So in your syllabus, in your learning outcome, you are required to derive the formula. Okay, kamu kena tahu macam mana mau derive formula. So formula yang kita gunakan simple saja, half Li square. Dia sama macam sama form macam kalau kinetic energy is half mv square. This one energy in inductor half Li square. It's almost the same form lah dekat sini. Okay, so how can we derive this formula? Okay, we start with the general formula for the energy. So energy, we know that energy is power divided by time. Okay, this is what we learn. Energy is, oh sorry, not power divided by time. Power times Betul lah, power divided by time, right? Sekejap. Sorry, miss. Lupa sekejap. Okay, so energy is power times time. So power darab dengan masa. Dan kita tahu juga power adalah sama dengan current times with voltage. Okay, in this chapter, voltage dekat sini we call it as EMF induced. So kita akan gunakan simbol E lah di sini. Okay, now dalam inductance, we have the self-inductance. Okay, we learned that self-inductance, this is the formula for self-inductance, di over dt. So kita masukkan formula ni ke sini. And then kita rearrange, kita akan dapat P dt equal to Li di. Okay, we just change, pindah ke sini, so kita akan dapat this expression. Okay, so daripada sini, because we want it in terms of energy, right? So, kalau kamu perasan, this is P dt when there is a power and then times with the change in time. So from here, kita boleh ubah that the change in energy divided by the change in time adalah sama dengan power. So if we rearrange, we can get that the change in energy is equal to P dt as well. So we substitute it here, where we have the change in energy is equal to Li di. Now we want to get rid of the change, so kita just integrate both sides. Bila integrate, kita akan dapat E. This one actually kita just integrate the, because we have di, right? So L integrate, we will get half I times with I. So kita akan dapat 1 over 2 Li squared. So this is the formula that we are going to use to find the energy stored in the conductor. Okay, but instead of kita gunakan E, kita akan gunakan simbol U. In this subtopic, in this chapter lah, kita gunakan simbol U. So U is equal to half Li squared. Okay, you need to be able to know how to derive this equation because it is in your learning outcome. But so far, Miss tak pernah nampak lagi lah soalan tentang derivation. But if there is a question about derivation, so we always start with the formula for energy. And then since energy is power times time, so kita keluarkan satu formula untuk power juga. Okay, any questions so far?
No, miss.
Okay. So, we only have one formula here. Okay, Miss akan terus masuk chapter subtopik yang seterusnya sebab nanti kita akan, okay, dalam soalan tu dia akan gunakan this formula dan formula untuk 5.5 juga sekali. So, Miss explain sekali lah so that nanti dalam dalam example kita boleh gunakan kedua-dua formula. Okay, so next one is about mutual inductance. Okay, so mutual inductance, dia berbeza dengan self-inductance. Self-inductance tadi kita hanya ada satu circuit sahaja and we change the current in that circuit and then that circuit will induce its own EMF. Now mutual inductance, meaning that we have two circuits here. Okay, so mutual inductance ni is a process when we have a change of current in one coil that causes an induced EMF in another coil placed near to the first coil. Okay, So sama juga M dia adalah to produce induced EMF. Okay, now let's consider. Okay, this is one coil. So the first coil, kita panggil dia coil 1 lah. The first coil is connected to a battery and also a resistor. And then we have another coil next to it. So this coil is not connected to this coil is not connected to any battery. Okay, we only connect the coil with a galvanometer. So galvanometer just to see whether there is a current flowing through this circuit. So we have coil 1 and coil 2. Okay, so when we have a battery and then we complete the circuit here, we will have current flowing through the circuit. Okay, akan ada current in the first coil because ada battery. So ada energy yang supplied by the battery to the circuit. And then remember we learned in chapter 4 that when there's a current, we can generate a magnetic field. So dekat coil ni akan ada magnetic field disebabkan ada current yang lalu dekat sini. Okay. When we place the coil next to this, okay, when we place coil 2 next to coil 1, we notice there is nothing changes. When there's a current flowing here and then kita letakkan coil ni berdekatan dengan coil yang pertama, we notice there is nothing changes. Okay, but then we change the current in this coil. Okay, remember in 5.3, in order to produce induced EMF, kita kena ubah current dahulu. Okay, so kita ubahlah current dekat coil yang pertama ni. So apabila kita ubah coil dekat current yang pertama, we notice there's a deflection in this galvanometer. Maksudnya, there is a current flowing through this circuit. Okay, we don't even move the coil. So coil ni kita letak dekat sebelah je. Kita tidak akan gerakkan dia sentiasa macam yang Faraday's experiment buat lah. This one we just place it next to the coil 1 and then we notice there is a current flowing to here. Okay, when we change, but the keyword here, we need to change the current in the first coil. Okay, so apabila ada current dekat sini flowing to here, remember when there's a current, that current actually comes from EMF. Okay, dia kena ada EMF dulu baru akan ada current kan. Current tu dia tidak boleh tiba-tiba ada kalau tiada EMF. EMF is energy supply by something, by a battery, by any kind of sources lah. So, bila ada current kita tahu, oh there is an EMF in this coil. So macam mana benda ni berlaku? So basically, apa yang berlaku adalah the magnetic field in the first coil, sebab magnetic field ni kan dia sangat besar kan, dia punya line. Dia macam ni. So bila kita letak coil ni bersebelahan dengan coil yang pertama, so coil magnetic field daripada coil yang pertama akan lalu juga dekat coil yang kedua. Maksudnya coil yang kedua ni dia rasalah magnetic field tu. So they experience that magnetic field from the first coil. So apabila dia experience magnetic field from the first coil, so bila kita ubah current dekat sini, bila kita ubah current dekat coil yang pertama, kita ubah magnetic field. Bila ada perubahan magnetic field, maksudnya ada perubahan flux. So maksudnya dia pun akan rasa perubahan flux tu. So according to Faraday's law, when there's a change in flux, we can induce EMF. So coil 2 akan induce EMF. That is why we can have an induced current flowing through the circuit. Okay, boleh faham ke tu proses dekat situ?
Boleh, Miss.
Okay, so the keyword here, there must be a change in the current. So kalau tiada change in current, there is no change in magnetic field. There must be a change in current. So this kind of concept is the same concept that we use in a wireless charging actually. So sekarang ni kita dekat pasaran ada wireless charging. But I think there are a few types of wireless charging. So ada wireless charging, it must be in contact. It's not like really in contact, tapi dia mesti dekat dengan charging device tu kan. So that the phone will be charged. Okay, so basically apa yang ada dalam phone kita adalah we have the coil, and then dekat dalam charging device tu pun ada coil. That's why kita punya phone boleh charge wireless lah. Maksudnya kita tidak perlu guna kabel sudah untuk charge. So that is the kind of concept that is used in wireless charging lah for now. So ada yang wireless charging, daripada jauh pun kita boleh charge that phone. But this one belum ada dalam market. As far as I know, our current phone belum support lagi teknologi tu sebab dalam phone kita hanya ada coil saja. So untuk charge daripada jauh, we need to transfer in terms of electromagnetic wave. So kali ini dia adalah electromagnetic wave. Dia sudah bukan electromagnetic induction. Induction maksudnya dia mesti dekat dengan kedua-dua device tu mesti close to each other so that we can transfer that energy. But if we have the device away from each other, maybe like 2 meters away, and then we want to transfer energy, it is not possible yet. Okay, the idea in there, we need to transfer energy in terms of electromagnetic wave. Benda ni kita akan belajar nanti dekat dalam chapter 10, I think. So for now, you just have to remember that in order for the coil to induce EMF, we need to change the current in the first coil. So apabila kita ada perubahan current, ada perubahan magnetic field, perubahan magnetic flux, barulah ada induced EMF. So apabila ada induced EMF, ada energy, we can see that there's a current flow. Okay, so from here, the second coil, we can say that the second coil has its own inductance. So second coil ni ada inductance dia sendiri. Sebab inductance ni adalah bermaksud we have the EMF induced, right? So coil kedua ada inductance disebabkan perubahan daripada coil yang pertama. That's why we call it mutual inductance. So this one is just the how the process is. Dekat dalam nota kamu memang explanation yang sama lah. Okay, so that mutual inductance, kita boleh gunakan this formula. Okay, kita tengok second coil dulu sebab dekat second coil yang berlakunya inductance. So second coil, the inductance is caused by the change in the current in the first coil. So apabila ada change in current in the first coil, we can produce EMF in the second coil. So mutual inductance adalah sama dengan negative. Okay, negative is just, we can ignore that one. This one is just for Lenz law punya application lah. So dekat coil 2, we produce EMF because of the change in the current in the first coil. That's why dekat sini EMF dekat second coil, dekat sini adalah the change in current from the first coil. So untuk coil 1 juga akan ada inductance dia sendiri sebab, okay, this is going to be quite difficult to understand. But disebabkan dekat coil 2 ni, dia ada perubahan flux kan, macam Miss cakap tadi, kalau dekat sini ada perubahan flux, kat sini pun akan ada perubahan flux sebab dia punya magnetic field ni dia boleh sampai dekat coil yang kedua. So bila ada perubahan flux, akan ada terhasilnya induce. Tapi the keyword here is we need to always change it. Okay, kalau kita stop buat perubahan, there will be no changes in flux lah. So the keyword here, we need to always change it. So apabila kita terus ubah current di sini, so dekat sini pun akan ada perubahan current. So apabila ada perubahan current, dia berbalik dekat sini, dia berbalik dekat coil yang pertama. So coil pertama pun akan produce lagi another EMF. So dia punya proses ni, apa yang berlaku dekat coil 2, dia berbalik kepada coil 1. Coil 1 akan experience the same process di mana akan ada magnetic flux, akan ada perubahan magnetic flux dan juga dia akan ada induced EMF dan induced current. That's why kita ada mutual inductance yang berlaku dekat coil yang pertama juga. Okay, I know it's a bit difficult to understand, but okay, we don't really need to go into detail actually. I just want to explain why we have another formula untuk coil 1. So, kesimpulannya di sini, coil 1 dan coil 2, kedua-duanya experience inductance. Dan coil 1, dia akan experience inductance disebabkan perubahan current di coil yang kedua. So, apabila dia experience inductance, dia akan produce EMF juga. So this is the formula that we are going to use. Depends on the soalan lah. Kalau soalan mau cari what is the, okay, mutual inductance untuk coil 1 dan 2 adalah sama. So M, contohlah sini Miss letak M1, M2. So M1 akan sama dengan M2. Value dia adalah sama. And then we can also use this formula lah, di mana mutual inductance is equal to I, mutual inductance times with I2 is equal to number of turn in the first coil times with the flux in the first coil. So kalau current dekat sini 2, dekat sini dia kena gunakan value daripada coil yang pertama. Macam tu juga for this one. Okay, boleh? Ada soalan so far?
So far tiada question, Miss.
Okay, so far there are question. Okay, so this one is when we have coil. Okay, kita ada coil saja. And then right now we have solenoid. Okay, solenoid bila kita ada wire dan conductor. Okay, wire yang dililit dengan conductor yang dililit dengan wire. So sama juga benda dia. Tapi apa yang berlaku dekat sini, kita lilit dekat conductor yang sama. So we have the first wire, yang color pink ni first wire, di mana the first wire is connected to a battery. So first wire ni yang ada current, second wire dia tidak akan ada current, dia tidak connected to anything. Kita just lilit je dia dekat conductor tu. So sama juga apabila ada current lalu dekat first wire and then kita ubah current ni, so second wire ni akan experience, produce EMF. It is the same thing. Cuma dia punya setup je lah yang berbeza sikit. Setup dia apabila untuk solenoid, we have the conductor in between them. Okay. So the mutual inductance untuk solenoid, dia sama juga for this one. Di mana mutual inductance sama dengan N2 divided by I1. So dekat sini, will always be I1 sebab we change the current in the first, sorry, this should be I1. So we change the current in the first coil only, in the first wire. And then number dekat sini, number of turn dekat sini adalah number of turn daripada yang kedua. And then flux untuk solenoid, kedua-duanya akan experience the same flux because kita lilit sama-sama dekat paksi yang sama. So untuk cari another formula untuk mutual inductance is mu naught N1 times with N2 times with the area of solenoid divided by the length of the solenoid. So this is the length of the solenoid. And then area is just pi r square. Okay, so kita ada formula ni untuk solenoid. And this is just the general formula lah. So macam yang tadi untuk inductance, self-inductance, kita ada E is equal to negative L di over dt. So L dengan M adalah benda yang sama. Kedua-duanya adalah inductance. Tapi kita mau bezakan self-inductance dengan mutual inductance. That's why satu kita gunakan L, satu kita gunakan M. So formula dia sama juga, tiada perubahan di sini. And then if we want it to be in terms of change in flux, kita boleh gunakan the number of turns. This one adalah formula Faraday's law. E is equal to dV over dt. But since in this subtopic we have solenoid ataupun coil, so there must be a number of turns. Kita ada dekat depan. So this is the original formula. This one daripada self-inductance, this one daripada Faraday's law. And then kita gunakan untuk mutual inductance. Okay, let's see the example so that we can understand it better. We have example for okay, we don't have example untuk mutual inductance dekat dalam nota kamu. Tapi dekat sini Miss ada bagi 2 example. Okay, nanti Miss bagi nota ni ya. So kamu tidak perlulah salin the whole question. Kita bincang je dulu. Okay, so first example ni tiada, 2 example ni tiada dalam nota ya. Nanti Miss akan bagi. Okay, let's read the question first. Okay, a current of 3 ampere flows in coil C and produce a magnetic flux of 0.75 Weber in it. When a coil D is moved near to coil C coaxially, a flux of 0.25 Weber is produced in coil D. If coil C has 1,000 turns and coil D has 5,000 turns, we need to calculate 3 things here. Okay, let's extract the information from this statement first. Okay, kita ada 2 coil. So we have coil C. Okay, di mana coil C akan ada current. Coil C ada current 3 ampere. And then coil C ni produce magnetic flux. And then we have coil D is moved near to coil C. So coil D ni yang tiada battery, so dia tiada current lagi lah. So dia hanya ada flux 0.25 Weber. And then it has a number of turn 5,000. Untuk C, the number of turn is 1,000. Okay, so coil D is moved near to coil C. Now, first question, calculate self-inductance of coil C and the energy stored in coil C before coil D is moved near it. Okay, sebelum kita ada coil D, kita tahu dekat coil C, apabila kita ubah current, it will produce its own self-inductance. So we need to calculate that self-inductance. Okay, soalan A, we want to calculate self-inductance and also energy store. Okay, what kind of formula we can use here?
NV over I.
Apa dia? MV over I?
NV over I.
Okay, NV over I. So from here we have the number of turn. Okay, kita punya flux pun ada, I pun ada. So we can use this formula to find the self-inductance. So you just masukkan 1,000 times with the flux divided by the current. Then you will get the self-inductance is equal to
250.
250. And what is the unit for inductance?
Henry.
Henry, okay. So this one is for self-inductance. Next one, we want to find the energy store in coil C. So energy store formula hanya ada satu, half Li square. So I kita ada, L pun kita ada from here. So just masukkan sahaja. Then you will get the energy is equal to
$1,125 joule.
1125 joule. Okay, make sure semua tekan kalkulator ya. Jangan tunggu jawapan daripada kawan je. Okay, this one very straightforward. In order to find inductance, we use this formula. And then in order to find the energy store, we only have one formula. So kita gunakan this formula. Okay, next question. We want to calculate the mutual inductance of the coils. Okay, we want to calculate mutual inductance. So Miss tunjuk tadi, we have a few formula to find mutual inductance. Okay, so based on the information that we have here, which formula can we use? Anyone ada idea? Daniel ada? Daniel, are you there? Alter? Oh, tadi misalnya nampak nama si Alter. Victoria ada? Semua lah Miss panggil dia ada ni. Okay, anyone lah, siapa-siapa yang ada?
Miss yang
M equals, okay.
Apa dia? Ada dua orang yang bercakap tadi. Okay, satu-satu dulu. Jill dulu cakap.
yang EMF equals to negative M to apa ni?
EMF is
Di
equal to
over dt.
negative M, this one, di over dt.
Ya, Miss ya.
Okay, this one. Okay, so we want to find M, right? In order to find M, we need to find E and also di. Okay, di kita ada I. Does it says about the change? It doesn't say about the change actually. Okay, tapi kita ada current, but we don't have time. So ada dua benda we need to find in order to find the M. So formula ni kita tidak boleh gunakan. Is there any other formula to find the M?
To mu naught times N1 times N2 times A over L.
M, apa tadi? Sorry, Amin. Boleh ulang. M is equal to?
Mu naught times
Not. Or times with N1. This formula.
N1, N2, yeah.
A divided by L. Okay, but kita punya soalan ni, it's coil. Dia adalah coil, it's not solenoid. So remember I said that this one is only for solenoid. Because solenoid kita ada number value untuk length. But good try, I mean thank you.
Oh, Miss.
Yes?
Yang anu tu, yang MI equals to itu kata.
MI equals
MI equals to NT kata.
NV.
NT.
Okay, dia sama macam this formula actually. So we can use this formula sebab we are given the information in terms of flux instead of in terms of induced EMF. Okay, kita dibagi in terms of flux. So kita boleh gunakan formula yang ada flux. Okay, so here as I said, kalau dekat sini I1, kat sini will be N2 and Phi2. So we can find the value for M, mutual inductance. So the number of turns in the second coil is 5,000 times with the flux in the second coil, 0.25, divided by the current in the first coil, which is equal to 3 ampere. So we can get the mutual inductance.
For
416.67.
4 point, apa dia? Sorry, double lah suara kamu.
400.
416.67.
417.
Six.
Ada decimal place?
Ada 66.
66 Henry. Betul kah?
416.
416.66 Henry. Macam ni?
Ya, Miss. Macam tu.
Okay. Semua dapat?
Dapat, Miss.
Dapat Miss.
Miss.
Okay, next question. Okay, if the current in coil C decrease uniformly from 3 ampere to 0 in 0.25 second, calculate the induced EMF in coil D. Okay, so now we have a change in current in coil C. And then that change is daripada 3 ampere. So this is the original current. And then change to 0 in 0.25 second. Okay, soalan C, we want to find induced EMF in coil D, right? In coil D. When we have the change in current, so current initially dia adalah 3 ampere, then final dia adalah 0 ampere. And then the time taken for it to change is 0.25 second. Okay, so in order to find the induced EMF, so kita boleh gunakan inilah formula yang kamu keluarkan tadi, di mana EMF is equal to negative M dI over dt. So since kita sudah ada M 16.66. Okay, macam biasa negatif we can ignore. dI over dt 3 bahagi 0.25. So kamu akan dapat the induced EMF in coil D.
Five thousand.
5,000. 5,000 only.
Ya, Miss. 5,000 only.
5,000 volt. Okay, ada soalan so far?
So far,
faham, Miss.
So far faham. Okay, kamu just perlu pandai-pandailah gunakan, pilih mana satu formula yang kita boleh gunakan. Because we have a few formula untuk mutual inductance. So depends kepada information yang kita ada. Okay. Let's see the next example. Example number 2. Okay, we have here the primary coil of a solenoid of radius 2 cm has 5,000 turns and length of 24 cm. If the secondary coil with 80 turns surrounds the primary coil at its center, calculate the mutual inductance of the coils, the magnitude of induced EMF in the secondary coil, if the current in primary coil changes to the rate of 4.8 ampere per second. Okay, so untuk case ni kita ada solenoid. So we have a solenoid. Let's draw the solenoid first. Okay, kita ada solenoid and then we have primary coil. So the primary coil has 5,000 turns. So let's assume this is the primary coil. And then the solenoid has a length of 24 centimeters. So the length from here to here is 24 centimeter. And then we have the radius of the solenoid, 2 centimeter. And then we have the secondary coil with 80 turns. So kita ada secondary coil. Okay, maybe macam ni lah secondary coil. N2 is 80 turns and 1 is 5,000 turns. First, we want to calculate the mutual inductance of the coil. Okay, mutual inductance of the coil. So based on information yang kita ada number of turn, kita ada length, and we are also given the radius. Okay, which formula can we use to find the mutual inductance?
Yang tadi, Miss.
Yang tadi kan, yang mu naught N1, N2 times with area divided by the length. So area kita di sini adalah pi r square. And then you just masuklah mu naught ni constant value, which is it 4 pi? Miss lupa sudah, 4 pi exponent negative 7 kah?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have the first
Yeah, -7.
Okay, negative 7, right? And then 80 darab dengan area pi r square. Is this centimeter or meter? Okay, oops. It's 1 centimeter. 0.02 square divided by the length tadi 24 centimeter. Okay, make sure convert kepada meter ya. So kamu akan dapat mutual inductance is equal to
2.632 exponent negative 3.
2.4
632.
Ada 4 tadi depan.
2.632. 2.632. Exponent negative 3.
Negative 3 Henry. Let me check the answer. 2.632. Okay. Okay, next one. Okay, we need to calculate the magnitude of induced EMF in the secondary coil if the current in primary coil changes at the rate of 4.8 ampere per second. So notice here we have ampere per second, meaning that this is the value for what?
DI over DT.
DI over DT, right? And then we want to find the, is it induced EMF? Yes, we want to find the induced EMF. So sama macam soalan yang tadi tu, induced EMF adalah sama dengan mutual inductance darab dengan DI over DT. Mutual inductance tadi kita sudah dapat 2.632 exponent negative 3. And then DI over DT is 4.8. So we will get the induced EMF is equal to
0.01263.
1, 0.01263. Okay, 0.01263 volt. Okay, semua dapat?
Dapat, Miss.
Okay, ada soalan so far?
No, Miss.
Ada, Miss.
Okay, kalau tiada soalan, so kita sudah habis cover 5.4 dan 5.5 di mana kita cover untuk energy store. Energy store is straightforward, you just use that formula. U is equal to half Li square. And then mutual inductance, kita ada dua. Satu untuk solenoid. Okay, satu untuk solenoid, this one. Ni example 2 adalah untuk solenoid. So untuk solenoid, we can use this formula. Depends pada information yang kita ada. Dan satu lagi apabila kita ada mutual inductance for the coil. Okay, untuk coil. Okay, untuk soalan tutorial, kamu boleh buat sendiri sebab Miss rasa Miss sudah bincang banyak soalan. So kalau Miss bincang soalan tutorial nanti kamu tiada soalan untuk kamu practice on your own. So soalan tutorial kamu akan buat sendirilah nanti. Okay, so before I end the class, kita recap dulu apa yang kita belajar dekat chapter 5. So chapter 5 kita ada 5 subtopic, right? So we have 5 subtopics. So dekat 5.1, we learn about flux, magnetic flux. Ataupun kita gunakan this symbol phi. Okay, magnetic flux, formula dia adalah Ba cos theta. Di mana magnetic flux is basically just the amount of magnetic field that goes through a surface. So flux is just the amount of magnetic field that goes through a surface. So kalau kita letakkan plan tu macam ni, so kita akan dapat maximum magnetic field sebab semua plan ni dia akan terima magnetic field. So kalau kita letak plan tu macam ni, and then kita ada magnetic field kan. So this one won't have a maximum magnetic flux. So dia berbeza. So depends kepada orientation of the plane, kita boleh dapat tentukan adakah berapa banyak magnetic field yang melalui plane tersebut. That is what we call as magnetic flux. Okay, so this is what we learn in 5.1. Okay, dalam 5.2 we learn 2 laws. First adalah Faraday's law. Okay, di mana Faraday's law, kita ada satu formula di mana EMF is equal to negative d phi over dt. Maksudnya, we learn that we can induce EMF when there is a change in magnetic flux. And also we learn about Lenz's law, di mana Lenz's law hanya bagi tahu that the direction, okay, negative value dekat sini adalah daripada Lenz's law, that the direction of the current is to oppose the change. So this one we cannot calculate it mathematically. Kita hanya dapat determine the direction using, there are few rules we can use. First is right hand grip rule. So this one kita boleh gunakan untuk dua benda, straight conductor and also coil. Dan yang kedua, right hand palm rule. And then this one only applicable to straight conductor only. And then we learn about the Faraday's experiment. Okay, ingat lagi macam mana Faraday's experiment? Can someone explain what is the setup in the Faraday's experiment? Diana? Adakah Diana sini?
Ada, Miss.
Okay, Diana, can you explain just a little bit about Faraday's experiment yang kamu ingat dan yang kamu faham? So what do we have in Faraday's experiment? Apa setup kita?
Kejap Miss.
It's okay, take your time. Okay, sementara Diana bersedia, yang lain tolong bersedia juga ya. Bolehlah buka nota kamu. Okay, nota kamu yang balik. Tengok apa dia Faraday's experiment. Apa setup yang ada di dalam Faraday's experiment. So this one Miss explain di dalam 5.2. Kelas on Monday, I think.
Okay, Miss. Dalam Faraday's experiment ada magnet, coil, galvanometer.
Coil dan galvanometer. So Faraday's experiment yang sebenar tu kita ada coil. And then we have galvanometer connected to a galvanometer. And then we have a magnet. Okay, so what happened when the magnet approach the, is moving towards the coil here?
The needle in galvanometer is deflected.
Okay, so there will be a deflection. Kita boleh notice there will be a deflection in the galvanometer. Okay, misalnya tunjukkan satu simulation tu apabila kita letakkan magnet mendekati galvanometer, there's a deflection. So when there's a deflection, meaning that there's a current flowing through the circuit. And then apabila kita letakkan magnet ni menjauhi pun sama. We also notice there is a deflection. As long as the magnet is moving constantly, we will get a deflection in the galvanometer. Maksudnya akan ada current flowing. So the current flowing is a result of changing the magnetic field, where we actually change the magnetic flux. So according to Faraday's law, changing in magnetic flux will induce EMF. Okay, we will induce EMF. And then we also learn about the direction of the induced EMF. So before this, if the first case, if we move the magnet towards the coil, Lenz law kata we don't want any change. Okay, we need to oppose that change. So apabila magnet mendekati, dia kena tolak balik magnet tu. Apabila dia tolak balik, so let's say for now dekat sini adalah north, dekat sini south. Okay, kalau kita tengok macam ni lah. Okay, current naik atas kan, so north kita ke sini. Our thumb will be pointing here. So this is the original. When the magnet is moving towards the coil, Lenz law cakap we need to oppose, so we need to push the magnet away. So in order to push that magnet away, dekat sini kena jadi N. Okay, at this part here, dia kena jadi N. So that N bertemu dengan N, they will repel each other. So kalau dekat sini N, dekat sini akan jadi S. So automatic, the direction of current pun akan opposite direction. Sama juga apabila kita ada magnet menjauhi, Lenz law cakap, okay, we need to oppose that change. So in order to oppose that change, we need to attract the magnet. Kita kena tarik balik magnet tu. So in order to tarik magnet tu balik, so dekat sini akan jadi S. And then dekat sini akan jadi N. So the direction akan berubah lagi. So that is Faraday's experiment. So just remember, kamu kena tahu macam mana mau explain Faraday's experiment ni. So ada dalam nota kamu, basically setup dia adalah we need magnet, we need a coil ataupun loop, and then connected to a galvanometer. If the magnet is at rest, okay, tiada perubahan dalam velocity, okay, bukan tiada perubahan dalam velocity, okay, tiada pergerakan, there is no motion. When there is no motion, there will be no current. So kita tidak akan dapat induced EMF. Okay, induced EMF can only be produced when there is a motion with time. Okay, so that is what we learned in 5.2. Okay, now in 5.3, we learn about self-inductance. So M dia sama, we also want to produce induced EMF. But now, induced EMF akan dihasilkan on its own, tanpa ada bantuan. So daripada sini, bantuan dia adalah daripada magnet. Magnet ni lah yang menyebabkan ada induced EMF di sini. So self-inductance, maksudnya dia hasilkan induced EMF dia sendiri. So setup dia sama juga, we have coil ataupun solenoid. And then we connect to a battery. So now kita ada battery, akan ada current flowing through the circuit. And then in order to induce this EMF, we need to change the current. Okay, satu je benda yang kita perlu buat to induce EMF, we change the current. That's it. Untuk self-inductance. So bila kita ubah current tu, dia akan induce EMF dan dia juga akan ada self-inductance. Dia akan produce that self-inductance. So formula untuk self-inductance tadi negative E dI over dt. And then last kali kita belajar dekat dalam 5.5 about mutual inductance. So mutual inductance adalah satu proses di mana coil yang kedua akan produce EMF. So coil yang pertama, and then we have a second coil. Okay, sorry lah lukisan tak cantik. Okay, so mutual inductance, the same thing, we have induced EMF. We want to produce induced EMF. But now induced EMF tu kita akan produce in the second coil. So coil kedua, coil yang pertama. So macam mana kita produce induced EMF in the second coil? We change the current in the first coil. So we change the current in the first coil. That's why kita akan dapat mutual inductance akan sama dengan negative E2 divided by dI1 over dt. So mutual inductance akan terhasil apabila kita dapat produce EMF dekat coil 2. Okay, hasil daripada perubahan current dekat dalam coil 1. So depends kepada soalan. If we have solenoid, okay, we use another formula. And then coil ada formula dia yang sendiri. Okay, so kamu kena ingatlah benda-benda ni semua proses untuk menghasilkan induced EMF. Boleh?
Boleh, Miss.
Boleh, Miss.
Boleh Miss.
Boleh, Miss.
Okay, so that one is just a summary of what we learned in chapter 5. So Miss explain panjang-panjang, kalau kamu tidak study balik pun tidak guna juga. So make sure you study it on your own. I can only help you to explain all of this in simple words. But at the end nanti, it's up to your effort. Kamu kena letak effort juga untuk faham benda ni. Tidak semestinya apa yang Miss sampaikan ni kamu terus faham. No, it doesn't work like that. Okay, as a student, it's your responsibility to do your own revision. Okay, so because chapter 5 ni, it is about electromagnetic induction kan. Dia satu proses yang kita tidak nampak by mata kasar. Okay, kalau mata kasar kan kita tidak akan nampak proses ni. Okay, dalam electrical, mainly in electrical lah. We don't see the process. Dia benda yang kecil. Current tu kita tidak nampak pun sebenarnya. Current, the magnetic field, we can't see it. That's why it's really hard to explain and also to understand the process. So, everything up to you. Your effort lah, kamu kena letak effort untuk fahamkan benda ni. Okay, so untuk soalan tutorial, macam yang Miss cakap tadi, you do it on your own. Ada 10 soalan, so nanti Miss akan assign the due date on GC. So due date dia seminggu daripada sekarang lah. Miss bagi masa seminggu. And then esok Jumaat kah? Okay, esok Jumaat. Okay, esok kita ada another 1 hour, right? So sejam esok tu Miss tidak akan buat GM. Kita akan buat lab report. Okay, lama saya kan dah buat lab report because I've been skipping the experiment. So untuk esok kamu kena buat lab report. The lab report untuk eksperimen 2. So eksperimen 2 ni adalah eksperimen yang kamu akan buat nanti untuk practical test dan juga lab report practical test lah. So this is as an exercise for you lah to prepare for the lab report test later. So lab report test dengan practical test kita akan buat selepas cuti mid-sem. Let me check the date first. So cuti kita adalah daripada 5 sampai 13. So I believe 14 March tu, which is habis dia cuti, Isnin malam, kita akan buat lab report test. And this one nanti Miss akan remind lagi. So 14 March tu kita akan buat lab report test. And this one nanti Miss akan bagi briefing, but just as a heads up, lab report test ni kita tidak buat macam sem lepas. Sem lepas dibagi masa seminggu kan untuk buat report tu. But this time kamu terus buat dalam masa 2 jam I think. If I'm not mistaken 2 jam ataupun sejam setengah. So kamu kena buat within that time. Dia sudah dibagi masa selama seminggu. Sebab bagi masa seminggu pun in the end semua buat last minute. Besok malam tu boleh buat. Okay, semua macam tu. So lebih baik kita bagi masa 2 jam. Kita boleh habiskan buat benda tu dalam masa 2 jam. So this one Miss akan bagi briefing minggu depan for the lab report test and also practical test. And assignment, okay, don't forget to do the assignment. Assignment contributes to 10% to your PB marks. So try to do it early. And if you are not confident with your answer, you can check with me. Yeah, you can send the draft, tapi send jangan last minute ah. Send awal. So ada sudah yang send dengan Miss draft, tapi Miss belum check lagi. So try to do it early. I know this weekend you have lab report for chemistry I think. So maybe kamu siapkan dulu yang chemistry part 2 and then start buat untuk assignment untuk physics. Okay? I think tu jalan untuk hari ni. Before I end the class, do you have any extra question?
No, Miss.
Tidak, Miss.
No, Miss.
Tidak, Miss.
Okay, so kalau tiada soalan, I guess that's all for today. Okay, I will see you in our next class. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Miss.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Miss. Happy birthday, Miss.
Happy birthday, Miss.
Happy birthday, Miss.
Happy birthday, Miss.
Happy Miss.
Thank you, Miss. Happy birthday.
Miss.
Thank you, Miss.